Coach, do you have any opening statements?
Well, just a good win for us. Valuable 2 league points after not playing the league game for a while. And obviously, a hectic week for all of us. Getting 7 guys back from the World Juniors and playing a game on Thursday night with about 7 players, and then having a practice with about 14 players, and just really been a uncharacteristic week for us. But really proud of our team. Played a UMass team that I know. Record-wise, I know it hasn't been a great year for them, but they can continue to compete, and they make it difficult for you. And certainly you get up 3-0, and they come back and battle back and make it 3-2. And our goalie has to make some big saves to keep it at 3-2. I know the score can be a little bit deceiving when you win 5-3, but our goalie played a big part of that. And I thought it was the conditions weren't bad. You're playing an outdoor game, and it's the ice can get a little choppy, as you would expect, but a special night. We get the chance to play at Fenway Park, especially for us. Obviously Fenway's right on the edge of our campus, and our guys all get a chance to get over to Fenway to see the Red Sox quite a bit, whether they're from Boston or not, or Sweden or Long Island. It doesn't matter where you're from. They get over and become Red Sox fans in some capacity. And it was a great night and a fun night, but you can't lose sight of the fact that 2 points are at stake, and it's a very, very meaningful game.
Coach, you mentioned Jake coming up big when it's 3-2. Just what did you see from him tonight? 26 saves by the end.
Yeah, a guy that has, did a lot of things he's been doing all year long. That's why he was on the World Junior team, and why he's had the great freshman year that he's had. He makes timely saves. He makes it look easy. He's big. He's composed. One of the things that makes him special is not only does he have the physical tools to be successful, but he's mentally tough and composed. And I thought he was all of that tonight.
Dave, did you feel like it took a little while for the offense to get going and to get settled in those conditions and before you get comfortable?
Yeah, I did. I think for both teams, I think it was a feeling out process. You're really not sure what you're going to be able to do or not do under these conditions. And I think both teams kind of figured out that it was going to be a game of simplicity. And I thought when we kept it simple, we had a chance to have success. And when we got too cute, we paid the fiddler. And I think both teams figured that out as the game went on.
Charlie, you just talk about getting that rebound in the circle. What you were thinking at that point?
Yeah, one of the adjustments we made as a team was to get that backside guy down low, and see if we can exploit that. And it was a good job by Clayton up top to just get it past those 2 wingers and try and get it to the net. Usually good things happen. It was kind of a lucky bounce, but just shot it as hard as I could.
Jake, you had 3 goals, I think, in 17 games in the fall semester, and now you've got 5 goals in 2 games in 2017. And almost had a hat trick again today if you didn't get that at the end. So what's the difference so far this year?
I'm not sure. It works that way sometimes. For a while it won't come anything, and then the next game you'll get 3. So like you said, it's nice to get this start to 2017, and it's. A couple of the kids were asking for my stick there, but I think I wanted to keep it since it was a nice stick.
Charlie, it's unique, I guess, that you get drafted by the Bruins and you've had the chance to skate at the Garden, but what was it like skating here kind of today?
It was really special. Kind of like Coach alluded to. I'm a New York kid, and obviously I grew up New York sports fans. But then you get to Boston, and before I was even a Bruins draft pick, I had been to Fenway, and it's such a storied building, and such a great city, and you kind of take on a little bit of an allegiance to the Sox there. And once I got my Red Sox hat, then it was kind of serious. But playing here was a blast, and it's something that I'll remember for a long time.
How does that play back home, Red Sox hats?
They don't like them.
Charlie, can you just reflect on this last whirlwind week in general? 4 high-stakes, big-stage games, and everything has gone terrifically well. What's the whole experience been like going through this week?
It's been crazy. I feel like I've aged a little bit here over that whole thing. It's just something that I don't think you could have drew it up like that at all. And we had a very resilient team, that World Junior team, and when things wouldn't go our way, we found a way to still make them go our way. And that was an unbelievable experience, and it's something that we'll all have for the rest of our lives. And it was good to get back here and to get on the ice with the guys yesterday, and then to obviously play in this game and get 2 big points. It has been crazy, but it's great to get back here for sure, and to be with this family, and to start off with the big win that they had over Union while we weren't even here, which is going to pay off dividends, I think, towards the end of the year. And for us to get this win today, it's a good start for us as a team.
How does it feel to be on that World Junior team with so many of your teammates from here?
Yeah, that makes it really special. It's something where I was talking to someone earlier that once that tournament's over, everyone splits up again, and it's kind of sad that you don't have that much time together with that whole group of guys, and you probably never be together again. But it does make it very comforting knowing that we have a lot of those guys here, and we can always lean on each other and remember it.
Charlie, Jay Ottinger had a little bit different experience in World Juniors than you just not being able to play. Can you just discuss the role that he played for you guys while you were up there?
He was one of the best team guys that we had, one of the most character guys we had on the team. He obviously didn't have the big impact like Tyler Parsons did, but behind the scenes, he worked hard every single day in practice, and he's just a great guy to be around, and that's something that the 3 of us know. And anyone who knows him personally will say the same thing. He's a phenomenal kid, and he's someone I'll pick to have on my team any day.
Coach, what's it like to have at the end there guys like Gabe and Chad chip in with the goals? I mean, they're probably not the most likely candidates to get that result for them.
One of the things we talked about before we came over here is, we feel we're 26 deep, and it's hard telling guys they're not going to play. We proved it on Thursday night. We think that we're 15 deep up front, 8 deep on the blue line, and 3 deep in net. And I'm not surprised when guys like that contribute offensively. I mean, we think Albie and Scotty Young and Steve Greeley and Buddy Powers have done a phenomenal job recruiting, and we're very fortunate to have the depth we have. It certainly played a huge role in winning on Thursday night. It's going to play a huge role moving forward. And if you're going to have success and win championships, which we want to do, you need 26 guys pulling in the same direction and having the ability to contribute, whether it be today, February, March, or April. And those guys are key parts to our team. The guys that weren't dressed tonight are key parts to our team, and we all know it. And I'm not surprised when anybody that is on our roster contributes.
For Jacob too, when UMass comes back, makes it a 3-2 game and then 5-3 at the end. I mean, just what's going through your guys' head as they're fighting back, and maybe seems like you're pulling away, and then they come right back and get one?
Yeah, I think you got to give them credit for staying in the game like that, and I think they'll probably rise a little bit in the rankings. They have a better team than what their records show, so I think you got to give them credit. But from our side, I think we just got to keep going. You can't really let it go like that. Get in your head, you just take the next shift and just keep going.
Coach, Kiefer Bellows had that really nice assist, so he had a pretty good game. Do you think that gold medal game could give him a little bit of confidence going forward?
I thought Kiefer had a really good tournament from start to finish, and I always felt bad for him because he's a goal scorer, and you want him to get rewarded, and obviously he played really well in the gold medal game. We got a couple of goals. He played really well today, and he's a really good player, and he's going to be a big part of our success moving forward, and he played well tonight.
Coach, can you kind of walk us through what you saw out of Jake Ottinger today? I know it must be tough for a goalie not to play for a few weeks, but can you kind of just walk me through what you thought in his first game play in a while?
He made some big saves. Like I said, I know it's 3-0, and it looks like maybe B was controlling the play, but it was a game of bounces. We got a couple of bounces. Jacob's first goal, he takes it to net, he gets rewarded for doing the right thing, and that finds its way in the net. And, it's 3-0, and Jake makes some big saves, and they make it 3-2. And actually, early in the third, it was 3-1. The first 2 shifts, they've got 2 really good chances, and he stonewalls them. And I'm proud of his effort. I know it's been a while since he's played a game, and he had a half-hour, 45-minute practice yesterday. So, like I said, it's been a very uncharacteristic week for us, and it's going to be nice to get back to some normalcy.
David, what kind of lift did you get from your penalty kill unit in the second period?
Huge. Our penalty kill has been really good all year. And I think we're over 90% now, and we're one of the top penalty kills in the country. And certainly that starts with the goalie, but also starts with guys like this who, they're talented, hard-working players. And our penalty kill, we weathered the storm. I think we had to kill 5 penalties in the first 2 periods and 3 in the second. And unfortunately, we've had to do that all year long. We've taken too many penalties, and we took too many tonight. again, when you give up a power play goal, that you win the special teams battle, which, well, broke even, we got a goal and gave up. But to not give up the penalty kill goal is big.
Any final questions for the student athletes before we go to tonight?
I guess for Charlie, it's been a pretty great week for VU hockey as a whole, as everyone knows, and then going up into this week now with the BC League. I mean, I know it's early, but it's kind of what's going through your guys' head with that big series for you guys to program.
I think that we'll approach it just like we approach every game. I mean, we don't really focus too much about who the opponent is. It's really more about what's going on in our locker room, and we'll approach it like we do every game, and we'll obviously respect them. But I think that it's going to be a big week of important practices for us, and I think we'll go into that weekend feeling good.
All right, thank you. Final questions for Coach?
Dave, let's talk about the week. Jake can beat people one-on-one. Both of those goals, it was a one-on-one.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked me, what's the difference in between last year, and I think it's the skating. He's a little bit more agile, he's a little bit more elusive, slippery would be another good word to use. But the thing that looks like he's done is he's picked up a half a step of quickness. He's got the ability to take a guy wide and cut into the net, which he did on the first goal. He's been doing that consistently throughout the year, and he's just. If you want to talk about an elite player and an elite person, and he's just he's as good as everyone thinks he is, and he's probably a little bit better.
How does he respond by getting knocked over the boards, passed over tea kettle there?
The way he responds to everything is just a complete stone face. He jumps back on the ice and starts playing hockey again. It didn't bother him in one iota. He was just ready to go. It's all part of the game, and I could put him with both Zamboni drivers out there, and there'd be his two line mates. He wouldn't blink an eye. He'd just go play hockey. And that's what makes him special.
Commissioner Bertani was talking about